Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the WrestlePurists Worldwide podcast. I'm joined by Joe Hulbert, Manny the Hooper. We're going to talk a bit of John Cena, Charlotte Flair, Noah, the weekend's wrestling, and whatever else seems to come up, really. Joe, I'll start with you. How you doing today, bro?
Bro, it's late. That just scared the shit out of me. I had this video open in another tab and was unaware of it. And your mouth was moving, and I was getting two audios, and that was that was concerning. That was. I was thinking my internet's not just fucked up; it's hearing it twice. That's new levels. So, but nonetheless, I'm good after that momentary panic. It's a new year, exciting time to be a professional wrestling fan. I'm told. Taking his word for it. I'm just kidding. We actually have a lot to talk about. There's some cool shit again too, and we missed last week, right?
Yeah.
So feels like
Hope everyone had a nice Christmas and nice Christmas, Happy New Year.
Mm-hmm.
Hoping everyone has a nice 2023 and everyone gets everything they want out of it. But yeah, Manny, how was your New Year?
It was shit. I was working, and then I got this hat on Saturday.
It's a pretty good hat.
Yeah, it's a Spurs hat. I don't have any Spurs hats, and I got it because of that logo right there.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Watched some wrestling this morning. Got pumped up because of Kenta, so I'm ready to roll. Is there an echo?
It was a very brief one, but it's gone now. I think.
You know, we're professionals. We got this shit sorted out. First things first, obviously, like, subscribe, super chat if you're feeling generous, all that good stuff. Speaking of which, we have a super chat now off Bam, who sent in $5. Massively appreciate you, bro. I believe 2023 will be a crazy year for wrestling as a whole, and Mercedes will be the cause of it. January 4 and 11, remember those dates. January 4 and 11 are obviously very important things, I guess, in the wrestling in the upcoming weeks in wrestling. 2023 being more crazy than 2022 will. I mean, what can I was gonna say? Like, what can happen, bro? 2022 was really insane. Especially like in hindsight, in a few years when we look back on it, it'll really stand out of how crazy it really was. You know, Vince McMahon retired, bro. Like that alone. Yeah. Cody Rhodes going to WWE. Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestled at WrestleMania, and that's kind of like been, in terms of stories of the year, that's kind of been swept under the rug. Do you know what I mean? Like Stone Cold Steve Austin came back, bro. Like
it was swept under the rug on that night because Cody. It was crazy. It was an insane. Yeah. That was an insane time. Yeah, I don't know.
Then obviously CM Punk and the All Out, the Elite thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's been a crazy year. It's been a fun year. It's had its highs. It's had its lows. It's been very, very eventful. If 2023 is even slightly, you know, if 2023 is even half as eventful as the last year was, then we need to strap in because
my question is this: let's assume, just for the sake of conversations, let's assume that, as Bam is alluding to, there is an echo. As Bam is alluding to, there is a Mercedes appearance on the 4th and the 11th. Okay. What are the chances in your mind of that being top for story of the year in 2023? Because that's a big story, right? And we could have the kind of story of the year in the first couple of weeks. As Bam alluded to, I think it's going to happen personally. But if it does happen, what's the chance that it gets topped at some point during 2023?
I think it can happen twice if these hypotheticals actually happen. The Punk comes back and he actually apologizes. And then 2, I think it's a long shot and I don't think it's happening. But if Kenny Omega decides to go back to New Japan, because it's weird that you haven't heard anything about his contract in a while, even though you said it was up this year or in like 2 or 3 months. So I don't know. I think he's going to stay with AEW, but that'd be crazy if he goes back to New Japan.
I got you for sure.
Anything with the EVPs is always going to be big. I mean, it's like the whole reason why Cody was such a big signing. Because let's be honest, like you can argue about like who was the most important EVP in the creation of AEW, but one thing I think can't be argued is that Cody was at least the face of, to be calling the face of the revolution. Like that's what Cody was. So for him to jump ship was like, I think just insane. Do you know what I mean? Kenny Omega, him going to New Japan, I can't really see it happening, to be honest. You know.
Yeah,
I can't.
After
see
Tony losing Cody, I doubt he would. I don't
Mm.
think he'd let one of his other EVPs go. Do you know what I mean? He would
Yeah.
probably just throw a bunch of money at him or something. But I don't know.
I also think also with the thing of him wearing the Kota Ibushi shirt on AEW. I don't really think it's happening. Like I don't see him leaving after he convinces Kota to come in. You know.
Kenny's a real obviously this has always been the case, it goes without saying, but it especially feels like now to me there's like a whole new chapter awaiting him as a babyface singles, which is like weirdly something they've not touched at all really in AEW if you kind of think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like him as I think one of the biggest matches they can do is him challenging MJF for the belt. Like he's to the AEW audience, he's like the champion.
It's probably the biggest match they can do
yeah.
at the moment, considering Punk's like gone.
It feels like saying that we haven't touched because obviously he's been in the trios thing and killing it with the trios thing, but that means that there's fresh stuff waiting for him even when he does single stuff again. So yeah, I don't think he's leaving because I think he's hugely valuable in ways that even you can kind of take for granted just like looking at his whole run in AEW. Because look, what you just said about Cody's true, but I also think you can say the counter to that would be in a lot of ways he had become more valuable to the other company than he was to the one he was in at that point because he had got to a weird place with AEW, right? Like they were booing him. He was kind of doing this sort of shades of grey thing. Whereas the WWE, it's like, fuck, we can get their, big time EVP and make him our top babyface. He had huge value. I think with Kenny, he still has an awful lot to do in AEW. So I think they'll make that work, certainly.
Yeah, probably. Like I said, it's a long shot for him to leave, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like even like the shock amongst fans and stuff when there was those reports earlier on in the year when like after All Out and there was reports or rumors. I can't really remember which one of like the Young Bucks asking about what life would be on the other side, and everyone was putting everyone was putting two and two together. Like, the Young Bucks want to go to the Fed. They've spoke to Kevin Owens and this and that. It's interesting, man. When you hear rumors about like the remaining EVPs relationships with Tony and this and that. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I think, like you said, they'll figure it out. And I can't see any of the remaining EVPs moving around in 2023 anyway. Sasha coming in obviously be a huge story.
And another thing to that story that got it today is that Naomi's now in Japan with her. So
that was like a cool little tidbit. So for those that don't know, PW Insider reported earlier on today that Naomi is expected to be in Japan. New Japan sources wouldn't confirm whether she's meant to be on the show, on screen, or anything like that. It is entirely possible that she's just in the crowd and isn't even shown on screen. But she's there. She's in Japan. Expected to be at least in attendance at the New Japan show. So it's interesting because it's like a 13-hour flight or some shit. I know she's very close with Sasha, and it is absolutely plausible that she would take a flight that long just to go support a friend. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's a long flight, bro. Just to go watch some graps.
Even Fuego Kalisto goes with her too.
Fuego del Kalisto.
It is worth noting here before we move on that when they set this match up, and folks in the chat, please tell me the details. I forget how, but Britt gave Saraya tickets, right? Wasn't that the setup for this? I wonder how relevant that is. The idea that one of those two women may be the partner, and then there may be kind of like the real reveal, so to speak, is that someone takes a seat in the front row for that match. I don't know yet. I think you would be. It would take. I think you'd be pretty foolish to write off the chance of Naomi being involved in one of these two appearances, right? Like it feels very, very feasible to me. She gave Saraya 2 tickets, so that's interesting. Now that could just be nothing, but I don't know.
When did that happen?
When they set the match up and they said, in January 11th or whatever, the way that they signaled it was Britt handed her 2 tickets. And it's why would it was for her partner, I know that was an oddly specific thing that may mean nothing, but perhaps will be relevant in 10 days time or whatever it will be. We'll see.
Yeah, it's so crazy that I'm more because this week's Dynamite is so crazy. It's gonna be a long day for me and Joe, but the following week I'm more excited for, and I'd rather it be next Monday than this Monday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big few weeks.
Next week's the biggest show anyway, isn't it? Because next week's the
Hangman Moxley.
Next week's the Forum show, so you know.
I'm more excited just to get Dunks off than I am just to see her come out.
Oh, stop!
If it is,
I believe
I got a whole bookmark full of people too.
So where are we at with the whole Sasha Banks thing? We think she's you think she's a partner, John?
Bro, I've been convinced for weeks. I'll be very surprised if it's not her.
Right, so where are you, man?
I think it's gonna be her, and if it's not her, I feel bad for whoever it is.
Factual.
Yeah, especially at this point. I think it's before they teased it again on Friday because they went very quiet after the announcement. So a few weeks ago, they done the whole angle that Joe mentioned, where Britt Baker hands Saraya 2 tickets and was like, "I'm going to be there with Jamie. Meet me there with your partner," sort of thing. And then it kind of went quiet. Then on Friday, I believe it was, they kind of mentioned it again for the first time. Do you know what I mean? Like promoted the match and that she's going to have a mystery partner. So my thing has been like ever since last week when we were talking about it, Joe. It's like AEW has a very specific way of doing these debuts and surprises and stuff. They hint at it pretty heavy-handedly to the point where they tell you without telling you, so they can still sell tickets, they can still get hype, etc., etc., etc. They don't really do cold surprises. Do you know what I mean? And if they do, it's never for someone of Sasha's caliber. Of which, they've only had one other person come in off Sasha's caliber, which was CM Punk. So, basically my point is they haven't really heavily hinted at it being Sasha. I think we'll get that this Wednesday because according to what I've heard, it's one of those things where they couldn't really, they couldn't really get too heavy-handed with the promotion and stuff like that because they were waiting for Sasha to actually become a free agent, which happened yesterday on the 1st of January. So this is the first show of the year, January 4th, coming up on Thursday. If we get a big hint, I'll be absolutely convinced, and that'll kind of settle any doubts that I've got at the moment. But if we don't get any hint, if we don't get a blatant hint that it's Sasha, I'm going to be very skeptical that it is her, to be honest. So I guess we'll see.
I think what happened was that AEW hasn't hinted at a contracted WWE wrestler before that's coming in, and Sasha was still under a non-compete with WWE. So I'm pretty sure that they kind of realized, we can probably get in trouble. And I feel like it's kind of weird how they finally decided to say something about it on Friday, the week before January,
Yeah.
And the first thing is on January that they're gonna have something, like they're gonna have something about it. So I kind of maybe they're playing into it, the rumors, or they're just like, well,
either way, it's smart for them to say that they'll be giving more details on the 4th because, like Manny was saying earlier, if it's not Sasha, you gotta feel sorry for whoever it is. If you give a hint and you strongly hint towards someone else, or you hint that it's not Sasha on the 4th on Thursday, then at least you're bringing people's expectations down. So when that happens on the 11th,
it wouldn't be a hint, bro. They would announce it. Because who else is it going to be? Tony Storm? Like, they would announce that. Like, who are the other candidates?
Thunder Rosa?
It's not Thunder Rosa because I think she said it was. It's not Thunder Rosa. And then they said,
I'm just saying, who else would they not announce? Or if it was Thunder Rosa, I don't think they would announce it.
So Monty, look, they were in San Antonio 2 weeks ago. And if it was Thunder Rosa, they would have had Thunder Rosa in the Tony Storm position of coming out and saving everybody. But they also made it clear. They also made it clear on commentary that Tony Storm wasn't healthy, so she's not competing.
I also think part of why Wednesday is the perfect time to increase the hype is because by Wednesday she almost certainly would have made an appearance at the Tokyo Dome on that morning.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It'll be like there'll be so.
Thunder Rosa's back, I think, isn't it? Yeah. I think Thunder Rosa's a back injury.
The latest thing on her was it's not gonna be until February or something like that.
Yeah, the last thing she said she's going to aim for January, but we'll see. Do you know what I mean? Then I think it was Dave or someone of that like caliber who's been around for a while. You can somewhat trust reported something along the lines of he's looking like possibly February. But who knows? Do you know what I mean? At least I think it would be fair to say from what we know as fans, we can expect to see Thunder Rosa in like the next month. You know, the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Maybe.
I know it's her situation is so weird,
situation.
bro. Yeah,
she left
I'll
Dynamite in the middle of the show.
I'll get really weird vibes from it. You know, it's like Thunder Rosa, like there was like rumors and stuff that was said about her, about the way she was, about from other wrestlers that, you know, she's been working with on the indies and stuff. Like there was those sort of rumors that she's, you know, a bit different, you know. But this whole thing with like Thunder Rosa and, you know, the you know, any of the other women that have spoke about her in the media, whether that be Britt Baker, Toni Storm, or any of the others, do you know what I mean? The only reason why I bring up Toni Storm because I vividly remember her at the media scrum. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you had all these women coming out and kind of alluding and hinting that Thunder Rosa wasn't actually injured and all this and that. It's like,
yes.
I don't know, man. Painting her in a really bad light and she wasn't really able to defend herself. Then it's like, then Thunder Rosa went on. I think it was Busted Open because she's got a gig on there while she's been injured. And on one of the first episodes, it's like she kind of went off about it. Do you know what I mean? And it really sounded like a woman who had been like, I don't want to say bullied. Do you know what I mean? But like a woman that had been really kind of you know, pushed into a corner and felt like she needed to like really like clear the air and set the, you know what I mean? Like she was like, oh, if you check this, then I can prove that I'm injured. It's like you don't need to do that. Do you know what I mean?
I would say,
it gives me very, just the thing, it gives me very like Mean Girls clique vibes. To be honest,
it's hard to say because obviously none of us know any of these people. But
exactly,
I would say on the outside looking, it feels like a situation that needs like
addressing.
Good communication internally.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's their strong suit as a promotion. So
sound
it feels
like
stuff just kind of festers, it feels like, right? Like things build up and people talk publicly about stuff. So I don't know. It's hard to say because I don't know these people.
Well, like I said, bro, it's like it weren't doing a bit or anything. Genuinely, like what Dave was saying earlier about the Dax thing. It's like you're saying on Observer Radio, he was like, apparently some members of the locker room were really like unhappy, confused by like Dax's comments and stuff, and he was like, Dave was basically saying this is probably going to be one of those situations where someone like Tony or another member who's higher up there need to really call a meeting and clear this shit out. Do you know what I mean? Like what? Just Dax's comments about like Punk and stuff like that. And
okay, good.
Being nice about Punk, you can't do that anymore, bro. But
the
yeah, man.
Dad said, "Hell no, we can't have this guy on our roster anymore."
All I'll say is, like Joe was saying about Thunder Rosa, we don't actually know what's going on, so we can only say so much, and we can only go off what we know. But all I will say is, and I'm not one of those people who's doing like the whole CM Punk smear campaign conspiracy thing. But it is very, very funny. It is very funny how it seems like every time someone says something remotely nice about Punk, there's a story that follows up in the coming days where it's like, well, actually, Chris Jericho told the locker room that he'll make sure that he never comes back, and it's just like, it's just all very interesting. The rate and timing of when the news stories comes out is very interesting if you look at it, as much as I sadly do.
Did you see the tweet that Jericho liked about his statement about because you know how you posted it and it said
you
that
sent it everyone.
Oh, I sent it to you?
You sent it in a group chat. I think you might have even sent it me individually.
It was funny. Chris Jericho's like the tweet where he's like, he doesn't have that kind of power. You know, that's power that's only for Tony Khan to decide whether he can come back or not. Like trying to baby.
He only read the first half of the tweet. Like Joe, if you saw it, you'd 100% think the same thing. It's because like the first half of the tweet is like, I love Jericho. He's an absolute legend, one of my favorites of all time. But how does Tony Khan let this happen? Do you know what I mean? Like it's like a tweet of two halves, and you can tell he just read the first half of the tweet, and it's just, and the second half is like what Manny said. It's like, how did Tony Khan let this happen? It's his company. Why is Jericho making decisions on who can come into the locker room and not?
I'll be real, and the chat audience may completely disagree, and if they do, I apologize. I know it's a wrestling podcast, but this whole story has gone from being like genuinely interesting to one of the most exhausting topics of like, I can't do it anymore.
There's nothing else
like,
to be. There's
that's
nothing
what I'm
else really
saying.
to
But
say,
yet
bro.
we all do it. We keep going into it's like after Wednesday, they had that Dynamite show, and like the whole, I know Punk commented which was funny. I have no issue with Punk commenting things on Instagram, but it's like that then became the whole
on the Instagram account as well. Funnily enough,
there you go. And it's like it's just the way that then like took over the whole conversation. It's like we know so little about where they're at now. We don't know if anything's been mended. And any time that like Alvarez or Meltzer says it hasn't been, everyone just goes, "Yeah, they're working." Right?
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. There's not much to be said about like the actual situation itself, other than like what's directly in front of it. It's like I was just saying, like the only thing I've really thought extra about the situation recently is like when that story on Friday came out about Jericho, I just found it very coincidental. Do you know what I mean?
So I see your comment, and look, Charles Barkley said it best. He's no hero. Chris Jericho. That's why you don't have any heroes. That's why Jericho is known as Pussyco to me. So
Pussyco is unreal. Pussyco is unreal. Let me just fly through these super chats real quick. We got another one off the Pro Wrestling Podcast. $2. What's up, WrestlePurists? Appreciate you, bro. Everyone, go and seek out his Instagram. He's got a really great Instagram page to do podcasts. He's on Twitter and all that good stuff. If he's good enough for CM Punk to like and comment on his pictures, I'm sure you can do it on Instagram. So shout out him. Mazfan84 199. Muta matches and promos are like postmodern art, bro. They're hilarious. I was saying in the group chat earlier. Anytime Muta's wrestled this year, and we've done the match ratings in our spreadsheet, Joe, like his range is always fucking hilarious. Like some people will give it like 2 stars, and someone will give it like 4.5. Like he has that kind of range. Like you either love or hate his matches in this day and age.
I get the sense that our friend the Hooper was a hater of this latest one. Man, is that one again from this?
I want to say postmodern art. Muta matches aren't postmodern art because postmodern art is supposed to reject traditional values. So, I mean, it's the same boring match, and it's like a typical same babyface match you always see. It's real boring.
You didn't like the match at all?
No, there's no experimenting in the match either to make it postmodern art.
You didn't like...
So Shinsuke sucking the mist out of Muta's mask. That was...
Will Ospreay did it to Bushi last year.
Yeah, but that's not Muta, is it?
You didn't like the second half of the match?
No, I mean, it was... to me, it just felt sad, it just felt like Shinsuke just like leveled up, and he found like his old self again, and then he just couldn't go crazy because Muta just couldn't keep up with him.
Okay, I don't think you're wrong what you just said. Like, I do have to ask, as of considering this match took place on January 1st, 2023, I'm now intrigued by what you expected when you hit play on this Keiji Muto Shinsuke Nakamura.
He was expecting the Koto match again.
Well, no. I only watched it because I knew it was going to be a talking point, and I just knew that I had to watch it.
Right.
Yeah, I only cared about the show because I wanted to watch Kenta Marufuji, as you can tell from my timeline. I was really crazy about it all morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I decided to watch Kendo and Kiyomiya. And then
that match was awesome.
Oh yeah, that match was awesome. I don't know. I kind of like.
Did you like the Kiyomiya match? The Muta Kiyomiya match, not the one from the weekend.
That match was really great. Like
it was good. I mean, yeah, I liked it. It was good. It's just like I just thought like he would have just like Muta would have just like leveled up or turned back the time or something. Like Ric Flair or something. I was just
like Ric Flair.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I'm going to compare Ric Flair's last match to this one, I'm like, at least Ric Flair's last match was like exciting and like.
Bro, you could have at least said like Sting,
Yeah.
You went with Flair. It's hard to give you a leg to stand on, bro.
I mean, man, if you want to talk about postmodern art, I'm going to go with that Ric Flair match was postmodern art. It was entertaining, and he had a freaking heart attack. When's the last time we saw somebody do a heart attack during a wrestling match?
I really liked the match. Shinsuke was like, you talk about in your element. Like that dude, you could tell his whole energy and aura was like. But the thing is, I don't even mean it in like a. I know everyone's done their take about like it's such a shame and this and this. I don't even mean that. I just mean it felt like this is a night for me to be me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's great to do whatever you want to do over there, but it's like he wasn't. You know, I saw a lot of talk about when this match was announced about how much effort he'd put into this. It's like he's going to be, you know, the Shinsuke Nakamura of yesteryear as much as he can be, which isn't 100%.
It's Keiji Muta, man. Like, even I know us as like American and UK fans, Western fans, you know, bro, that's like retiring Undertaker or some shit. You know what I mean? Like that's like a serious deal, bro. Like, and
it had that feel, but like the spectacle element of it was immense. I really liked
no one nailed in that perspective.
Yes,
you know, the coolest part of that match to me was when the commentator started saying like it's the king of strong style, and out of nowhere, I don't know if Shinsuke could hear him or what. He just started like poking up and just started just punching Muto in the face, and I said, "Fuck, man, I just wish Muto can hang with him, bro." Because I was like, this thing just fucking ruled.
Yeah,
I get that part.
I definitely think I understand that if you watch it through the lens of like what could have been on this night if Shin, you know, if Shin was wrestling someone who wasn't, you know,
like Tanahashi or something like that.
Yeah, I understand, but for me personally, it added a charm to it because it was just such a weird spectacle and moment in the match.
I guess I was just more bummed out because we haven't seen this Shinsuke in years. And then when he finally decided like to turn back the times, it was against somebody that just couldn't hang. And he's gonna go back on SmackDown on Friday and then hang out with Top Dollar and all that. And it's gonna be like fuck,
just chilling.
I will say before we move on, like the tag match that you were popping about regarding Kenta, that match was fucking awesome as well. Kenta looked incredible in that match.
I know. I said, Kenta, don't even go back to New Japan. Just stay right here in Noah and just.
I was gonna say that like Kenta in this day and age, kind of like in Noah. It's like, you know, Kenta's he's like, I don't want to call him journeyman. That is absolutely the wrong word for it because of how good he is and how good he was, you know. But it's like, I don't know, man. There's a cool novelty to the way Kenta's career's played out, and seeing him in Noah now is like,
it's special.
It's just cool. Yeah, it's just cool, man. Like,
and I have to say, every single time I see Marufuji, because I don't watch close enough to see him regularly, so I'll see him like once a year at this point in my current. And every time, like, I'll kind of wonder early in the match if he's like lost the step. And obviously he's got older, but like when he goes still, he can still explode with those strike changes, strike sequences. So that was really fun one. And the title match we were talking about earlier was really, really excellent.
And it's not like it was Kenta of the early 2000s or mid 2000s. It was more like late Noah run Kenta, and it was so awesome. I like the way he exploded in his offense and was matching Segura with the strike exchange. I was just
breaking news in the chat. Oh, there's a new top dollar this.
Oh yes, I'm aware.
I didn't see it. Oh my god, there's a new top dollar. That new top.
I'm blocked. Right,
I haven't spoke to AO, Chris, or Rob, but they will be reviewing that on this Friday's episode.
Folks, you're in for a treat. Let me tell you, you're in for a treat. Let me say. I mean, that will be something. But yeah, now Ken, and I also like he's evolved. He's a different wrestler now, where it's like he's not as quick. He's evolved into this like really mean piece of shit, like bitter guy, you know. And he's always looks really miserable, and he's whacking guys, and I love it, you know. And also, I mean, we're talking about Fuji and Kenta as like the older guys in the match. They're like 10 years younger than the champs, right? So
yeah, Kojima and Surigura is like such a
52 and 53, I think.
Yeah, like when Murph first said that they were tag teaming like earlier last year, it's weird saying that because we're in 2023 now. But I was like, no way, you know what I mean? Like the proper awesome. Like, you know, like the old boys, but they can actually still like they're still great. You know.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Kojima's in Noah because like Noah, I mean, I guess New Japan's smart for doing it because they're moving him down the card, but man, he can still go at times. Like I still remember his match he had with Will Ospreay, the hardcore match, and then like man, and Noah at least he's doing something in Noah and having really exciting matches with Segura, so that's cool. And I also want Ken Fuji versus FTR. Make that happen, somebody.
Oh yeah, bro, come on, talking my language, mate. Anyway. Darren Walker, £5, said, if not Sasha on January 11th, fans set the seats on fire at the Forum. Well, what will the reaction? Will the reaction wrestler get? Don't know what that's even. Normally I can make out what it's going to say, but that's a blatant typo right there that I can't actually.
I'm not going to get sued for instigating a riot here on WrestlePurists.
You know, if not session on January 11th, fans set the seat on fire at the forum. Will the reaction wrestlers get? Yeah, I don't know. If fans don't set the seats on fire anymore, not AEW fans in LA anyway. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't fucking Southern Territories in the 80s, brother. You know?
Yeah, they'll probably just like log on and tweet actually good.
Yeah.
No, in all seriousness,
they'll log on and tweet like, why were fans expecting so much anyway? Do you know what I mean?
Look, I think we all need to just establish once more where we all stand on this. If it's not her, they need to make it very clear on Wednesday. It's not her. That's. I think it's that.
Yeah,
we'll see what you know. Yeah. Again, I think it's her. So we'll see.
I hope if they just go like really quiet on it, that's like the most
dangerous,
intriguing, dangerous. Who knows?
Ominous but exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do the cold surprises with stars that big, man. That's what you've got to know about AEW.
It's going to be crazy, too, because I think Sasha's going to be the first debut to actually wrestle. Wait, no. Is she going to be the first debut to a big superstar to wrestle on her debut instead of waiting for weeks or months?
Well, who would you say is the superstar? So Mox,
Brian,
Punk.
Brian.
Yeah, so
Cole.
Yeah.
Adam Cole.
Bro, you know as well. You know as well as anyone in the live chat, bro. Like, I'm not the biggest Adam Cole guy, but him going Fleet was a big deal.
He's a big deal. He's not as big as the other names.
No, of course not.
I forgot Claudio.
Even like Claudio is actually.
Oh, but I don't know if I would call him a superstar, but
I think the four superstars are Mox, Punk, and Brian, and now potentially Mercedes. That's the four. Superstars.
If we're talking like top tier, and if we actually are talking top tier, there's only actually like two, I'd say, and that would be
Brian's
like there, but you know what I mean. Like, I love him. I adore Brian. You know this.
Bro, he main evented WrestleMania like 2021. He has to be a superstar. I know he's like not.
He also got that one can
I like the old school superstar. You know what I mean? I want to see the drawing numbers. I want to actually see it. You know what I mean?
Well, in that case,
but with Punk, you can be like, you know what? He sold out. He sold out 20,000 tickets without even being announced. Do you know what I mean?
Well, if you want to talk about moving tickets, then I think you just CM Punk by himself. Then,
but you got to remember, Punk's a very particular case because he was gone for 7 years. That's different, you know.
And he wrestled in the UFC.
Factual,
he fought in the UFC.
I think I think comparing things to Punk is very hard considering how unique a case he was. He was gone for 7 years.
Because he's a real star and we don't fucking have him anymore. That's why.
I don't know.
I guess I should have said that the wrestling star, because I mean, if you say superstar, then you can just equate it to like, you know, CM Punk. So wrestling superstar.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it always pops me when, like, you know, when a big star like actually draws, like, you know, like John Cena selling 5,000 tickets after being announced. Like, that pops me fucking huge, you know. So it's a real star that's still around. You know what I mean?
It's like his ball spot.
I know we all love Cena now, and I have no issue with John Cena, but that, like, him making the calling spot thing, just like his act, is incredible. He had to have been aware of what he was doing because he's always done it. That was unbelievable,
bro. Even the cameraman didn't give a shit.
They zoomed in on it, and poor Michael Cole was like, Michael Cole was like, he's imploring Kevin to make the tag, and it's like, all right, man, whatever. Did you enjoy that match a lot, or was you?
I loved it. I know, like, in the group chat, I'm in the minority, and people are very underwhelmed by it.
I know you're lying.
Bro, it's John Cena. What do you want?
He was only there for 30 seconds.
So what?
I was disappointed.
They hit his music. You come out, huge pop.
Oh, you're a theme merchant.
I mean, it's just vibes. It's vibes, bro. It's just the vibes, bro. John Cena, 13,000, 14,000 people there. You know what I mean? It was just fun. And it was actually a good match. Like, if you focus too much on what John Cena actually did in the match, you know, he got a hot tag, hit his 5 moves of doom, got out of there. He didn't really do a lot. Can perfectly understand why that might be underwhelming to some people. But I thought the actual match itself was, like, very good, well put together. WWE. It was almost like I loved it as well, mainly because it was kind of froze me back, you know, the big star main event tag for WWE though.
That was not it.
Yes,
What,
that's
bro?
the thing. I wanted it to be that, but I didn't think that's what this was because Cena didn't even do like the opening match part with Roman Reigns. But I thought they'd at least do the one where they go face to face and it's the big like superstar. I don't know. Look, it was fine. I'm not saying it was bad or anything. I must admit I was left a little bit flat because I thought they were gonna have like a real, not like a classic. But I thought they were gonna have kind of the epic, big time tag.
That's basically the reaction I've got whenever I've been asked about it.
Yeah,
I love it. Fuck it. You know what I mean? He's going out there. He's balding. Pop. You know what I mean? It's John Cena, bro. Fuck it.
I'm not saying it's bad. I don't know.
I know.
Go ahead.
I know this is semantics at this point, but it's like if you're gonna I expected like a match, Kevin Owens, John Cena, and Roman Reigns. I didn't even watch the match, but from what people were telling me, and because I was gonna watch it, and everybody was telling me don't watch it because John didn't even wrestle in it. And I got bummed because I was really excited to watch it. I was expecting like the Punk, John Moxley, and FTR match where both guys were in and out. And you actually saw like a real tag team match. But since I didn't watch it, so I can't comment on it. But from what I heard from everybody, I was kind of disappointed and we didn't get that. The fans didn't get that.
Kevin Owens was typically great in it, so it was. Yeah. I agree with what he'd say. It was good. But I think just maybe I wanted too much. I expected Cena to.
Bro. Let's be honest. Like, he came in, hit his 5 moves, and got out there. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I completely understand people being underwhelmed, expecting a bit more out of Cena, etc., etc.
I would want a refund.
Well, I was about to say before, but he was saying it's just, bro. My bar for 2022 John Cena is very low. Do you know what I mean? So you don't have to do an awful lot to fucking pop, man. Do you know what I mean? And get really excited. No, it's just not. You're not all really love about every time John Cena comes back now. So like there was the time last summer, and there was a time like this time now. It's all the people who were there with the kids, and they're all fucking John Cena merch to the gills, and the fucking. I saw this one man post like as soon as like this one kid couldn't keep it together, bro. He just started fucking crying as soon as he saw John Cena. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, this is what I mean about like real fucking stars, bro. Like I know Cena's old and past it, but it's just the little things as well. It's like, yeah, he drew tickets and the crowd went crazy for him, and it was a fun main event, etc., etc. But it's like those little things as well always pop me. When someone like Cena comes around and you see all like the kids all fucking armband and hat, and it's just, you know what I mean. You see it all the time when he pops up, bro.
I will say it is very nice to see a guy who was so consistently polarizing in his prime get the response he gets now, which is like universal adoration and respect. Because I think that's cool. He certainly earned that, right? Like he had a sustained run on top. So I think it's very, very nice. I just wish I wish the match popped me more. But what are you gonna do? You get what you get, I suppose. But Charlotte Flair, I'm sure that one popped. That was on the spreadsheet, wasn't it, Monty?
Oh, brother. Let's talk about it.
You liked this, didn't you? You really like this.
Oh, bro. Listen, I get the old rolling. I honestly really do. I completely understand. Like, Charlotte comes back and wins the title again. Oh, that's new and exciting. I understand it, bro. But
yeah,
if I was in a coma for the past 3 months or something, and I had the option to wake up to Ronda Rousey as SmackDown Women's Champion or Charlotte Flair SmackDown Women's Champion, I'm taking Charlotte without even thinking, bro. And also, it just popped me, bro. Like,
wait, why did you have to be in a coma to make that decision? Couldn't I just ask you that anyway?
Nah, I mean, as in like just like straight up, like no context. Do you know what I mean? Like just no context, nothing. It's just like, who would you rather be the champion right now, today, going into 2023? Well, based off the year I've seen Ronda at, fucking hell, yeah, Ronda just doesn't care, bro. I don't really like dog wrestlers out on these podcasts and that because, but like Ronda just don't give a shit, bro. Like she does not give a like she shows up. She doesn't know what she's gonna do on the show. If she's told she's gonna have a match, she'll ask the person that she's wrestling to like show her a thing or two so she can like get through the match. And she goes out there with a fucking 20% effort, She tries to do the move that she was shown in the back 20 minutes prior. and usually does that pretty bad. And she has no like fire or charisma or just anything about her anymore. So it's just like, get that belt off her, bro. It was such a burden to the division, and a division that does not need burdening, bro. I will say though, Raquel done as great as a job as someone of Raquel's ability can to actually get a passable match out of Ronda before the Charlotte ordeal.
I didn't say that.
They actually had like a pretty solid match, and I guess when you think of like dynamics and stuff, it's like, you got Raquel, she can just kind of be the powerhouse and just sell her arm, and Ronda can just try and go for the arm. Like, it was a very, for TJ Wilson or whoever it was that produced that match, it's like, it's a lot simpler than other Ronda matches, I guess. And like I said, Raquel definitely played her part, and she done really good, man. But get that belt off Ronda, it's gone. Charlotte's back, and it's like,
just they've kind of refreshed so they've refreshed Charlotte's presentation, right? She had like new gear,
new song. She called herself the People's Queen. We're back, bro.
Wouldn't it be good if you was gonna like refresh those things to not have her immediately win the belt back, like again? I get what you're saying. I don't know, man. It's like
Charlotte Flair.
So how did she win the belt? How did they set it up? Because is it like a Money in the Bank situation without the Money in the Bank, or what happened?
You know what? It kind of was. So it's been scheduled for a couple of weeks. I think Raquel won a gauntlet match last week, and she's number one contender. A few weeks prior to this, though, she had her arm attacked by Shayna Baszler and Ronda. So like that was like the whole story of that match was like, Raquel trying to beat Ronda with her injured arm. They had a nice match, and obviously she like tested Ronda. Do you know what I mean? Like that was like the thing they were going for. Like she like put Ronda through her paces, sort of thing, and Ronda got the win eventually. But then after that, Charlotte Flair comes out. New music, new gear, looking great as she does. You know what I mean? True Flair. And she just says, like, she gets in her face, and Ronda, before Charlotte speaks, Ronda cuts her off and cuts this awful promo where she says something like, "Oh, let me guess, you want to come back and challenge me for a match at SummerSlam?" Oh, wait, no, it's not SummerSlam, it's Royal Rumble that's coming up, isn't it?
Hold on, wait, just wait there for a second. I have to say, generally when people aren't like great on-screen personalities, you put them with their friends, it really helps them because they're comfortable. This Shayna Ronda thing is like, it's incredibly made her worse.
Ronda's not nervous. I don't think Ronda don't get nervous. I think she's just like, no, I think that's what they think the problem was. I don't think Ronda gets nervous. I think she's just like bad at talking. Do you know what I mean?
These promos are so bad when they're together, and she like looks to Shayna for like, and Shayna like pops her jokes. It's fucking bad, man. I don't know. But carry on.
Yeah, it's brutal, bro. Ronda was like, "Let me guess, you want to challenge me for my title at Royal Rumble?" And Charlotte was like, "Nah, bitch, I want that title now." Then Ronda was like, "You know what? I'm in a good mood," or whatever. And Shayna tried to talk her out of it, but then Ronda laid the belt down. It's probably the best thing she's done the whole fucking title, right? It was quite cool, to be fair. Like Charlotte was like, "I'll challenge you right now." Ronda was like, slap that belt in the middle of the ring, and Charlotte, bro, that boot. Did you see the big boot? Mm-hmm. Charlotte give her the big boot, which I'm sure you don't remember, man, but that's what she pinned her with at WrestleMania. Was a big boot,
which was also very funny.
Beast, someone had that on their match of the earliest. I can't remember who it was. Someone in wrestling media with somewhat of a name, someone like, the other day someone posted the match of the earliest, and that was on it, and I was like, I remember popping for it because I remember them getting really aggressive, and it felt like Charlotte was just trying to will it into like being something. You know what I mean? It's big match Charlotte. She ain't gonna let it completely tank. But yeah, Charlotte hit her with a big boot, hit a spear. Ronda nearly got her in an armbar, and Charlotte rolled her up. Like, she reversed the armbar into a roll up, and that was basically the finish. And yeah, man, Charlotte's the new SmackDown Women's Champion.
What's next?
That's the interesting thing. So people still don't like. A lot of people, it would be very fair to assume that she's going to be babyface, but we don't really know. Do you know what I mean?
What's next is Alexa Bliss heel turn.
I guess we're waiting on the PW Insider confirmation report that they do. Charlotte is the top-ranked babyface on the SmackDown Women's Division.
Is this more Ronda Charlotte? Does she work with Shayna? What's the best outcome here?
She leaves with the belt and shows up on AEW and throws it in the trash can.
Depends who you ask in terms of that being the best scenario. But I don't know, man. That SmackDown division's it's really hard to book around Ronda Rousey, and certainly it's easier to book around Charlotte Flair. But we can't pretend that it's
I think the landscape of the division suits more if she's a heel.
Which babyface they got? Raquel, Liv.
There you go. But that division's so shallow.
You only live once, live more.
And Raquel and Liv, let me get it out there right now. I don't think Raquel and Liv are these amazing super workers or anything.
Yeah.
And but they're both decent. Liv has got a lot better over the past 12 months. Raquel, I was actually quite harsh on her. This time last year, I thought she was regressing when she first came onto the main roster and shit. She's definitely found her feet again. I think the turning point might have been who was she wrestling? It was Bailey or someone. She had a really solid match.
Bailey was good, yeah.
But yeah, man, she's a solid babyface, powerhouse female talent to have on your roster or thing. I was saying it to AO the other day. Raquel.
Oh, they talk about Liv Morgan. I said, when did this happen?
Liv Morgan, a powerhouse part.
Well, I mean, she's putting people through tables.
Listen, Liv Morgan's fun, man. The people like her, She's a good charm,
It would probably be a good idea. I don't know when the draft is. Then after Mania this year, right? But whatever.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't know.
Matt is injured. I
don't know when Asuka's coming back or how she's coming back. If they're going to try and rejuvenate her, some it'd probably be a smart idea to do that on the other brand rather than because Raw feels clogged up to me. So I think it pretty makes sense to me.
Yeah, bro. We were saying it months ago. It's this was before Raw got 4 new talents, bro, and then we was if WWE signed any more female talent, they need to sort the SmackDown division out. Of course, they're going to SmackDown. Raw's already stacked. Remember, we was having a conversation about how stacked Raw's division was before they got literally 4 or 5 new people over there. So it's it's before Bailey came back.
Yeah, it was.
Before Bailey came back, we was talking about how stacked Raw's division is, and they've added so much to it since.
Yeah.
And we were talking about SmackDown. The only people SmackDown have had are Charlotte has obviously just came back. They've had
Tegan Knox,
Emma, and Tegan Knox. Do you know what I mean? It's even the Mia Yim. I thought Mia Yim was a straight layup for SmackDown.
That's the one. It's if you wanted to push Mia, it feels like you could slot her in SmackDown. She'd be your best babyface.
Yeah, Mia Yim and Charlotte.
That'd be good. Yeah. Even I know that Johnny's on Raw, but if you wanted to feature Candice Ray, she would clearly have a better shot on SmackDown,
Yeah.
But it's weird. I don't know what the reason for that is. There must be some reason. They can't be oblivious to it. There's no way. Is it the 3rd hour? Maybe I don't know.
I don't know, mate. It's something. I don't know. I kind of accepted. Felt somewhat defeated, accepting the fact that I think that there is definitely a kind of developmental mindset towards the SmackDown Women's Division, man. Because it's the women that I think they can put on TV, but could still do a bit of improving. Do you know what I mean? That's who they put on SmackDown. Then the women that Triple H is really into and wants to do stuff and that with, they're all on Raw, bro. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, SmackDown they'll have a Charlotte. And Ronda's obviously a big star, but it's
well, Monty. If that's the case, and that's when our girl Trish Stratus comes up and beats Charlotte for the title.
Bro, it's Tiff. It's Tiff, not Trish.
Yeah.
So what is it? It pains me, man, because I know you are. I know you're a legit believer in the Stratum. But
it's actually the first time I think I've actually said her full name.
I love Tiff Strat, bro. She's great, man. She's part of our WrestlePurists End of Year Awards. She's up for Rookie of the Year. I mean, she's got tough competition, but she absolutely deserves a nomination, in my opinion. But yeah, speaking of SmackDown, like we were earlier, one last thing, which neither of you are going to be over interested in, but it was a big story of it. Uncle Howdy.
I got mad at you when I logged on and I saw my friend Monty on the WrestlePurists account tweet, "Hold up, Uncle Howdy laid out." I said, "Fucking grow up, Monty. What is this? He's putting this shit on my timeline."
Listen, bro.
It's good. There's an audience for it, God bless, but you don't need to be tweeting about it. You know,
we do, man. We done a press release, although it was only in the group chat, so you wouldn't have saw it. But yeah, we're doing, bro. Towards the last few months of 2022, I really slacked off and pretty much stopped doing live tweeting. I've always done live tweeting, but I just stopped doing it the past few months. So I'm getting back to it. It's like you guys like Joe got too comfortable of me being like the cool guy. You know what I mean? I can't say Bray Wyatt's cool on the timeline. I'm gonna do it, bro. You know what I mean?
Can tweet the video without tweeting the caption. Hold up.
No, this is what I'm saying, bro. This is what I'm saying. You can't. You can, but it won't do the same.
You captioned it like you're on like the WWE on Fox.
Yeah, bro. Like it was something like, wait, Bray Wyatt just
hold up.
Uncle Howdy just attacked Bray Wyatt. Like, bro, that's how you've got to write it, bro. Yeah,
I respect it.
But yeah, man. For those of you who don't know, and for those of you who are painfully uninterested by all this Uncle Howdiness, he showed up again this time. I think he had a full entrance this time with like theme music and like his own individual theme music and all that shit. And he actually came to the ring and we kind of looked at Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, and then he turned to Bray Wyatt and hit him with a Sister Abigail, and now that's another layer, I guess, in this Bray Wyatt Uncle Howdy story. He also looked different. It looked like he weren't wearing like that shitty mask. So it looks like his face was melting. Like he still looks like weird and shit. Like it's not good gear or anything, but it's definitely a step in the right direction because it was like, it's a lot less comical, although it is still like it's wrestle crap. What can you do? But like,
who do you think it is?
Bo Dallas,
Nick Aldis,
Sasha Banks.
I actually did laugh at the people doing the Bo Dallas like facial structure kind of things.
I think it is.
That was fucking awesome. Did you see that, Monty?
Yeah, bro. The earring one as well from like a month ago. Like it's what people do, bro. They're like, he's got the same shaped chin. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
In all seriousness, I've just to be totally transparent. I've not seen hardly any of this in full. If it's good and people like it, God, it doesn't look like it's something I would enjoy, but I haven't watched it, so. Maybe it's good.
This is very true. Just talking of my my live tweeting. This is what it became from like October onwards. I just feel like if something good happened, I'll just tweet pop.
That's all you need, isn't it?
Nah, bro. No, I'm gonna do proper live tweeting. I want it to be like if you didn't watch the show or you're at work or whatever, like you can go to our Twitter and kind of have a rough idea of what happened. You know what I mean?
Right. To be fair, yeah, pop wouldn't really help in that.
Exactly. Yeah. I still put pop for like certain things. You know what I mean? I gotta get my pops in, bro. But
Monty's gonna start posting like clips. Like there's gonna be a 5-minute match. He's gonna post like 3 minutes of it on Twitter. That's what's gonna happen.
Wrestle clips. Yeah, man. So, but I think it's Bo Dallas. I don't know if the chat agrees with me or thinks it's someone else or whatever. But yeah, man. I think it's Bo Dallas. I don't know what that means. Do you know what I mean? But one thing I will say, like, considering this is like, especially to like us three, and to a lot of people who will be watching this podcast, like it is wrestle crap what Bray is doing. But like, I think LA Knight has like really made a good account of himself, of like navigating through this shit. Do you know what I mean?
He's good.
Like that promo last week when he called out Bray was legit like one of the better things on the show. It was a good promo. It's just that like. What good is a good promo if a fucking man in a shitty mask is about to come to the top of the ramp with a bunch of smoke, laugh, and go home? Do you know what I mean? Like it's like I said, like considering it's wrestle crap, he's made a pretty good account of himself. So
the big question is, Monty, is there some Uncle Howdy business featured tonight on Monday Night Raw?
On Raw,
Bliss challenges Bianca Belair for
I don't think so, man. It's really weird, bro, because it's like Bray in Bray segments and shit, he hasn't even like mentioned, alluded to her, hinted at her. There's been no like flashes in the background or any like bull crap or you know what I mean? No like Bray bullshit. But in all of Alexa's segments, the logo will flash up, or she'll act a bit weird. She'll tease her sister Abigail. So I don't know what the fuck they're doing, bro. Yeah.
Because the last one with the vase, the thing flashes before she does it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, God forbid they're doing some sort of like bizarre mind control. I don't know, man. I don't know what they're gonna do tonight.
You got Bianca.
Good. Yeah. Yes.
You know Bianca. Manny, I know you're not gonna watch, but Bianca.
I gotta go watch the film The Well tonight, so I can't be watching Graps tonight.
Yeah, but you can still make a prediction.
Well, for what match?
Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair.
Oh shit, man. I'll go with Alexi all caps.
Yeah,
all Japan caps.
Manny knows his stuff, bro. You know?
I mean, it would be fucking hilarious, but I just don't think it's happening. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see. Speaking of, here's an interesting one. I know we put this in the title. Monty, is there anything else we talk about before we get to the last thing in the title? Because I actually want us to like predict this match. Monty's checking the title now to make sure.
Is there anything else?
There's another thing in the title we haven't talked about.
Yeah, we'll make sure we've got a good like 15 minutes or so for that.
Okay. I don't know if we have super chats and stuff.
No, we do have super chats and stuff.
All right, go on, go for it.
Yeah, we'll do some super chats first actually because they are starting to kind of pile up, which is very humbling. Appreciate them all. Starting with Tony L, $5. Appreciate you, bro. Do you think AEW signs Sasha to a contract, or do they get her for certain shows? I think that is completely dependent on Sasha. Like, obviously AEW would take her, but if say Sasha's price is so insane, or she has demands where she's hardly there, or whatever it is, it wouldn't surprise me if the only option was to get her per date. Then I think that is something they would definitely do. Do you know what I mean? I think they'd make the exception for her in that regard.
I think Tony's just gonna sign her to the shit ton of money that she wants and just put her to work, just like CM Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think no matter what the terms are, like even if it is a limited date thing, I still think they'll put pen to paper just because I think Tony knows how risky. I mean, like, I think Tony has probably figured out a few things about, you know, how quick things can change in wrestling over the last year.
Yeah. And I guess he also wants that president where he's like, I fucking got CM Punk and Sasha Banks. Like,
you want to tweet the graphic and all that stuff.
Especially like that's a big win for Tony, especially after you've just lost one of your main EVPs and your top star. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Especially like in terms of perception and stuff. You know.
But I also do think this because of this. If they do get Sasha, I mean, I think you can just wipe out the narrative that AEW, like, because I know some people are like, "Oh, AEW can't sign certain people," but if they got Punk and Sasha, I think now you can just be like, AEW can get anybody they want now.
Sasha's weird though, because like she's definitely in like it seems to me from a fan perspective. So just going off what we know off like her social media and the reports and stuff, she's kind of like in free spirit mode era at the moment. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like
a problem with hippies.
No, that's not what I said. I didn't even say I had a problem with this. Yeah, I think Sasha's just in I'm gonna do what I want on my terms and what makes me happy when I want to do it. I think she's just in that mode at the moment. So to be honest, bro, even like you say, like if they sign Sasha, they can sign anyone. No, but it shows that they can sign anyone. Sasha, Pong. It's like, you know what else even is there? You know what I mean? They've already got Bryan. They've already got Mox. It's like, who else is there that could jump? Fucking Seth Rollins. It's like Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, I think, would unironically fucking rule in AEW, but like, it's never going to happen.
I think Manny's kind of... Wait, and, you know, Manny, explain if I'm wrong, but I think what you're getting at is in terms of, like, stature. There's a certain fan base that kind of feels like, oh, yeah, it's all well and good to take, you know, Bryan, the guy who wants to wrestle Tony Nese in his hometown, but like these real stars we have over here of, you know, Roman, Seth, Sasha, Charlotte, whoever, she's usually on that list. And if she goes, I think it kind of opens up. Now, I do agree with you. Obviously, all of these are individual cases, and there are guys in WWE's mid card who are very unlikely to ever go to AEW because they're happy there and they're liked there. So it's all case by case, and every kind of individual is different. But I get the point for sure.
Yeah, we'll just have to.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting 2 weeks regarding Sasha Banks and what goes on there. So
I'm not gonna lie, we'll pop in like a year later that we're talking about this, and Sasha has like a meltdown at a presser.
Oh, bro, don't get me rolling on this subject. Don't get me started on the whole Tony Khan, Sasha Banks potential business relationship subject.
Like, imagine that happens again, but instead of it's just like you switch out the Bucks and you just put Britt Baker and Hayter, and that's like in those places, and like she's just going off on them. She's all bloody and everything. Like, I might work with children. That'd be so awesome.
Again, anyway, Showtime Spurs $5. Appreciate you, bro. Joe, I wonder if that's the reason people are pissed about the pod. Seems like most just want to move on. What was he talking about?
Yeah, this is your fault, Showtime Spurs. I've just forgotten what we were doing. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, shut up. Remind us. I'll keep an eye out if you.
I'm sorry. Man. Okay.
Are you worried for Wardlow?
Are you worried for Wardlow beaten and haircut, Manny?
Get that war fraud back to Florida. Have fun.
I knew that was coming. No, I think what happened on Wednesday was them kind of accepting where they were at, and try to reboot him in some way.
Okay,
we'll see how that
we've got it. Joe, I wonder if that's the reason people are pissed about the pod. Seems like most people are tight. Talking about.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Yes, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think like the idea that the roster's kind of like, fuck, we got to bring this back up for sure. I understand that. Definitely. That makes sense to me.
I'm not worried for the Wardlow. I don't think worry's the right word. Because it's like this has been the trajectory he's kind of been on. Like if we're being real, bro, like if we look at the heights that he was at after he just fucking squashed the current world champion, fucking MJF, Double or Nothing, and we look at kind of like what he's done since then. Like he was feuding with Mark Sterling in the Jobbers, bro. Like immediately after that, do you know what I mean? And at the time, we was kind of like, what the fuck, but. A lot of people just kind of like, let it play out sort of thing, and we did. And now, here we are. So I guess it's one of those things where they didn't capitalize on the momentum and the heat that they spent so long building up with Wardlow, and that is definitely a shame. And I think there is definitely a lot there for him as a talent. He looks great. He's big and strong. You don't need much more in Montel's book of approval. I like Wardlow, man, but no, definitely. I just think it was just a huge failure of capitalizing on someone that they really heated up. So, I'm sure they'll be fine. Go back to the drawing board, and figure something out.
I think this is a weird thing to say, but. I think in some ways what they did on Wednesday is better long term in theory because it shows they knew it had kind of lost its way. Absolutely. I think Wardlow just winning the belt back in the long run would have done nothing for him. I think it would have been back to square one. You know what I mean? So it isn't his fault, but because they've got themselves in this hole, I think you're better to try and find a different way out rather than just digging deeper inside of it, right?
Yeah.
And we'll see how they do it.
I think go on, man. Go on. I think with this just showed Tony Khan's back in that mode where he has his fastball back again, where he just saw Wardlow wasn't working. He's gonna take him off TV and repackage him like he's done in the past.
This is what makes. I know we're going to get into more detail, but this is what makes next week so interesting. If Darby wins that belt next week, I think it's very hard not to assume that Wardlow's supposed to win it on Wednesday. And he straight up switched. If he wins, and again, I think there's a good chance he does. But if he wins, it sure feels like Tony just adjusted, as you kind of alluded to there, and saw a different direction that he felt was more interesting. So that'd be kind of.
And I wouldn't be shocked if Darby loses next week too.
Yeah, it's 50-50.
It's hometown in that promo Florida.
Who cares if he loses? I mean, you got Swerve and you got Danielson that are going to win their matches. So
I honestly think it's a 50-50 in terms of like who's going to win. I think it's actually genuinely hard to predict. My current feeling is Dynamite will close with Darby as TNT champ, and it will be kind of like a triumphant way into the new year. But I wouldn't be surprised if Joe wins.
That's what I thought too until I saw the Sting promo.
That Sting promo.
So you got from the promo that he's less likely to win. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because it's for me, it seemed like Sting was like questioning if he still has that chip on his shoulder, if he still has that in him.
And
How good was that? How good was that promo, bro?
And you can play it off like and then after he loses, you can be like, well, you haven't done any singles matches. You've just been focused on a tag team. You just lost your edge, and then that could just piss Darby off even more and all that, and then he just eventually retires him or whatever.
Manny, how excited are you for Nick Aldis and Samoa Joe versus Sting and Darby Allin?
Well, now we're talking. I mean, put the AEW tag titles on the line. And
if that happened, Manny and I would be doing our watch along live and like fucking hooting and hollering about this great match, and everyone's on about this thing fucking sucks.
Oh, bro, they couldn't do it. Bro, it's like the whole bro, remember when Samoa Joe first came into AEW and everyone was fucking telling us that he's washed?
That wasn't
we had to fight that. We had to fight that corner, bro, and fucking, came good in the end. And we're going into 2023 as supporters of the King of Television.
He honestly feels like one of their biggest stars.
Oh,
and
bro, it's fucking awesome, bro. It's fucking Samoa Joe.
It's kind of wild, right? Like,
I'm telling you, I was in that corner fighting for my life defending Samoa Joe, and he had that match with Kyle O'Reilly, and I started punching out of the corner, and I said, "Look, bro, he's coming back. He still has it in him.
He's the man, bro. One of the best I've ever seen, genuinely. He's the fucking man.
And I think I said this on the Grin on Thursday. But it's like I think sometimes people get so stuck on what he didn't do, and like Harry's booking was bad some places, and he didn't win. It's like, fuck, man, he's still had an incredible career. He's been doing this shit at a higher level for over 20 years now. Like, that's crazy. Like, because he was working 0-1 in like 01, I think. That's insane. Yeah.
I think the issue though with people with like Samoa Joe and like Ruby Soho is like they took him. I think it took him a while to adapt to the AEW ring style, and now Samoa Joe is like, oh, okay, I got to wrestle like it's Ring of Honor, But just
I think it's that, and I also saw an interview where he talks about like he's just getting comfortable back in the ring.
Yeah, same. I think it's sorry to cut you off, but I think it's more just like him getting more comfortable in himself, getting back to wrestling on a regular basis, more than like him getting used to the style. Like it's Samoa Joe, bro. He's wrestled every style under the sun. You know what I mean?
I think.
Compared to the WWE thing he was doing.
But I think the thing people miss was when he came in, everyone was like, "Oh, he hasn't wrestled in has it been 10 months since Karrion Kross?" And everyone talked about Karrion Kross match. What people forgot was the Kross match was his first match in like 18 months before that. Like he'd been injured, came back, worked a couple of trios matches, got injured again. Missed over a year, worked Cross, and then missed another year. So it was like this is the most he's been in rhythm since like early 2019, I think. So I think that's a big part of it. But look, he's obviously a different wrestler. He's not 2005 Samoa Joe. But the biggest thing is they're starting to tap into him as a promo, which was the big thing that they'd kind of left on the outside for a while. I mean, in WWE for a while, he was like one of their best talkers in the mid 2010s. So yeah, he's doing a great
run. I want to throw this out to you, Joe. So do you think the reason they put the TNT title on him because they wanted him to get back in rhythm, and then they have the excuse, oh, he's TNT champ, I can just put him on TV every week and he can defend it. And so he's either to get into a rhythm because he couldn't do it with the Ring of Honor champ. People are gonna be like, why is the Ring of Honor TV champ on TV instead of the TNT champ? So I think that's the way he did it, so get him ready so when he does push him to the title or whatever.
Well, I think that's a big part of it. And I think what we're going to see after this is Joe transition to more kind of like big time feuds. Some obvious ones like where he can have big, kind of rivalries. Because really, thus far, the Wardlow thing is a rivalry. Don't get me wrong, but it is about the gold thus far. And I think the idea of, I'll do the low hanging fruit for Joe Holman. Just say it. The idea of an Eddie Kingston Samoa Joe feud, for example, is very, very compelling to me. People in the chat about Joe and Danielson. I've always been intrigued by Joe's take on the Blackpool Combat Club because he's like a much as regal guy as anyone in a lot of ways, other than Brian's. That's like Regal's son. Yeah, but the other dudes, Joe's very much a Regal guy. Like, so I've always thought that was interesting. And
him, Regal, and Triple H. You know what I mean?
It's wild.
Boys,
it's kind of sad when you said Eddie Kingston's name because I'm like, well, that's another feud for Eddie Kingston to lose. I
just want Eddie in feuds, bro.
I just want him. I don't even want to talk about Eddie. Like before, when he was just losing big feuds and that, it's like I used to roll my eyes at it and pretend. I'm not getting mad about it because it's Eddie Kingston. Not just seeing him on TV is kind of like a treat. Like a few years ago, there's no way any of us were expecting that to happen, so it's just a treat to like see him and still get to enjoy him on like a big platform. But now it's like, bro, we barely get to do that.
Well, the thing with King is just like every time when he's having these smaller feuds with undercard guys, like I want him to win, but once he gets in there with the main eventers, I'm just like, kind of makes more sense for the other guy to win instead of Eddie. And then I don't know, I get in such a rut with that because when they eventually feud with the House of Black, I'm like, well, the House of Black has to beat them.
Well, I don't think that's a bad thing, and I know what you're saying. Like, I think that's kind of that Foley ingredient that he has, right? Like where he's kind of. This sounds like such an insult, but I mean it with absolute love. But like, he is a great loser. Like, people really feel for Eddie Kingston when he loses. Now the problem is you can overdo that, right? If he loses every fucking week, then it's like he's just a loser. Forget about him. But if he's a guy who's kind of this tragic figure, who always falls a little short. I don't know. I think that's compelling. I don't know if they've always.
You know what I mean?
I don't know if they've always told it correctly, but it's a compelling story.
They built up the whole Jericho's the big one that is actually going to win thing. Then he ended up losing the feud.
Yeah, and they also kind of like they didn't
the big one.
They didn't really reiterate that he had won the big one either. You know, like they kind of just stuck there.
Beat him, and then it was like, okay, this feud's going to carry on, so we can't really emphasize that Eddie Kingston has conquered the great, mighty, legendary Chris Jericho.
For sure.
And you know what I mean? And they ended up, just like I said, you know, Jericho actually ended that feud with the last win. So, you know.
As much as I love Claudio, I kind of wish that Eddie Kingston was in that Jericho spot and he won the ROH World title. But I can see Tony where he needed Claudio to carry the division.
I think the way things are trending right now, with like King's usage, I wouldn't be surprised if they explore him and Claudio for the Ring of Honor belt, to be honest with you. Like, I think that's something that could definitely happen. And I, just to be clear, I think Eddie should be in front of the biggest crowds every week because people love him. But I think, you know, he hasn't been on the show as much as of late, right? I don't think it's impossible to imagine a world in which that's the big Ring of Honor program. Whether people are into that or not, I mean, I'd love to see the matches. I understand it's kind of like a, you know, people want Eddie to chase the big one, right? As much as we love Ring of Honor, the big one is the AEW title. So, we'll see.
And in the sad part too, we gotta understand, like being an ROH fan, and I'm glad Tony saved it, but you know he's gonna have to split some of this stuff up where he has to worry about Ring of Honor, and sometimes you're gonna get some of the best feuds in Ring of Honor, and some of them they're gonna be on Dynamite. So like, just pick your poison. Just
to be clear, there is a very, very good chance that if
we've got a sex spot in the chat.
There's a very good chance that the Ring of Honor show becomes the show that I most enjoy, because I think it's going to be a lot more like, frankly, it's going to be kind of under the radar in a way that a lot of my favorite wrestling is. You know, you can kind of enjoy it without wading into a fist fight online about it. Yeah. So if Eddie and Claudio wrestled in like, you know, some cool little studio for the fucking Ring of Honor title, I mean, I'm cool with that. I just know that it would be, for some people, it would probably be disappointing that he's not doing it on AEW TV. So
yeah,
we'll see how that ends up. We need to see what Ring of Honor TV is going to be, basically.
Yeah, hopefully it isn't in the All Elite zone, because fuck, man, if it is, I'll be so mad. I'd rather him just kept Ring of Honor dead.
Bro, that was like a thing. For months we were talking about this, like, oh, they're going to move to Universal for Dark. And because we were imagining Worldwide, which is ironic as we do this show, but WCW Worldwide had a really cool visual. They had like big bleachers for a studio. And then like, it happened, and there were just like 4 rows of seats, a couple posters. I was like,
to start really high up as well, which is definitely not good for the atmosphere.
There's still a stage for some reason. Man. You don't need a stage; it's a fucking studio.
Like, imagine if like they do Eddie and Claudio at the ECW arena or whatever. Like their first interaction, Claudio's cutting a promo, and Eddie just comes through the ECW arena crowd, and just imagine the atmosphere and all that would be. I think it would be like, yeah. But I think if they do go to different places, they should just at least do the multiple tapings, you know, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be taped. So
yeah, probably.
I think so. Yeah.
Real quick, let's blast through 5 super chats. Carl Marks, $4.99. Appreciate you. On behalf of the Communist Party, I want to wish WrestlePurists a Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone, including yourself, Carl. Appreciate the super chat. Charlton Spurs $4. Charlotte going by the People's Queen is like North Korea going by the People's Queen. Listen, Pops man, you know, Pops man. Appreciate the super chat, Charlton. Darren Walker, £5. Charlotte, only female star on SmackDown. Women's matches on SmackDown this year have been awful. Yeah, there has been a lot of stinkers, man. It's a shame. Like I said, it goes to the fact that, like, there's no like workhorses on SmackDown. Well, no, like, there's no like, it's tough. It's tough, man. It just kind of is what it is. Mazfan 84 199. Appreciate it. Is AEW Women's Division now comparable to WWE? No. In terms of star power, no. Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
If you want to compare like the in ring, I think it's better than SmackDown and NXT. Raw, I don't watch Raw, or I don't know about Raw enough. So whatever.
I would say, from my viewership of Raw, I think that division could still be producing at a higher clip than they are, because I think their usage is kind of uneven, which is like a shame. Like when you see it work, when you see that it line up, that Raw division is really good. The usage is kind of spotty. AEW's obviously isn't perfect. I wouldn't say this is better than Raw.
Their top end is really like good. Like with Tony Storm's title reign, and then going into Jamie Hayter, who's just gonna have banger after banger. That's really great for the top end of the division.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna see a Jamie Hayter top level TV match on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. I think you might just see that like that kind of level on a WWE pay per view.
Not like that Shida match that she had like last week or whenever it was. Like, there's no way they'd do like that's like WWE's equivalent of putting the belt on Rhea and then letting her just go out there with Becky Lynch and have like a 22-minute like banger in the main event. That just wouldn't happen, I don't think.
Because obviously Hayter and Shida try to go for an epic. You're not gonna see them. You're not gonna see anybody on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT go for an epic. Yeah,
it'll just be on.
The other thing is the crowd is like their crowds are so different, man. Like, because for the longest time, the AEW Women's Division had that problem of like, because they weren't on TV a lot individually, the crowds wouldn't be that into it. Because they love Jamie now, that one had like the real atmosphere. And unfortunately, with Raw especially, SmackDown actually has nice live crowds, but Raw's crowds are like, it amazes me.
They're not brutal, but like, they've definitely been worse in recent years, but they're not good. They're definitely not good.
They don't seem very enthusiastic about it. And look, to be clear, I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying, like, it's weird to me that maybe I'm imagining this one. You tell me, you watch them closer. It feels to me like Raw and SmackDown have very different live crowds. And I'm assuming that's
SmackDown's more energetic and stuff. Like Raw, it's like, it's almost like you want to say that it's the 3-hour show and the burnout, but it's like there's nothing for them to burn out, and I think they actually get like bored genuinely. I think when the show lulls, you know what I mean, like when the show is at its low points and it's just kind of filling up time, I think the crowd that genuinely does like kill the crowd. They don't really come up for much. There's not really much characters on the show that really gets them going. You know what I mean? If the Bloodline shows up, they come up for them and they'll make a bunch of noise for them, of course. But when you think of like the top people who get reactions, who does like even like SmackDown? They've got like the Brawling Brutes. Like people just love them. Do you know what I mean? Like the live crowd just love them. You know, they just do. So they always get like loud reactions and stuff. I'm trying to think. Like on Raw, it's like. Becky gets quite good reactions, but it's fucking Becky Lynch. Like fucking, of course she does. It's Becky Lynch. You know what I mean?
Who would you
but like
say?
in Becky's matches, it's not like the heat. Yeah, like what you were saying earlier, Joe, about like how the crowds are different between AEW and WWE. Like AEW definitely watches closer and reacts more naturally to like great like work rate and stuff. Whereas WWE fans, they just want to see like happenings. Do you know what I mean?
I enjoyed Bayley and Becky quite a bit.
Good match.
The crowd's response to that was so disappointing, and not because of any. Like it was just like, fuck, they should have a bigger reaction. You know, it was a shame, but it's interesting. It feels different to me.
Steph obviously he can get the crowd like cheering and doing his song.
Who would you say, without a world champion, who would you say is more Raw's ace? Seth Rollins and the kind of surrounding US title scene, or Bianca and the surrounding women's division? The ace of Monday Night Raw. Who would you say is more suited to that title as of their usage recently?
Becky Lynch.
No, that's not true. The Becky Bayley
she lost a couple matches and that, but it's just like the way the segments and that are set up. It's just like it's definitely Becky or Seth. I think
it feels like Bianca is like. I can't criticize her booking because she beats the shit out of everyone, which I co-sign and respect. But like, she does always feel to me like she's kind of a little bit in the background, even when she's beating everyone. Does that make sense? Like character-wise, she's like, I don't know.
That's what I mean. That's kind of what I'm getting at now. It's like, yeah, Bianca, she's literally had like a John Cena year. Like she's fucking just beat everyone and she looks great. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of
front
like,
and center.
Whereas like when Becky done that promo, I think it was like last week or whenever it was, when she's coming through the crowd and the crowd just starts chanting Becky, Becky, Becky. It's like, this is the biggest star on the show. Do you know what I mean? Or when Seth comes out and they're all going, oh. It's like, this is the biggest star on the show. Bianca don't get that reception. She just doesn't. Even though, like, I love Bianca. She's my favourite out of the three people we just mentioned.
Awesome.
By some good distance as well. But I think that's just the way the cookies kind of crumbled. I think it could do with I don't know, man. Like she hasn't had like terrible feuds or anything, but at the same time, she hasn't like had anything that you can really like shout about.
This is
nice glasses, man.
Thank you. Speaking as an outside observer of the Fed, is like I haven't really heard much people talk about matches that she's had that have been blown away outside of the Mania match she had with Sasha. So I don't really know if that's kind of died down with her hype, I guess, or you're saying that the crowd's not reacting to her as much as that she's not going out there and having the kind of matches that would make you
her last epic singles match was probably Becky at Mania.
What about the Bayley match in Saudi? Did you like that?
I mean, it was good. Like,
it was something people like those matches a lot more than I couldn't. There was something about that series matches with Bayley and Bianca where they were like good, but they felt like they could have been more to me.
Yes.
All of them. The TV match and the two title matches, and they were really good, but I thought they could have been better. And it was like, I don't know.
And that's the thing with Bianca where I struggle sometimes. Like she has a very like high ceiling. Like she's never gonna like stink. She's never gonna stink the stadium out. Do you know what I mean? Or she's never gonna like let you down. She's always gonna go out there. If she's got a decent person to wrestle, she's gonna have a solid match at least. But sometimes I feel like you was just saying about the Bayley match. It's like they're just kind of like missing something. Whereas but that's where I think like that's where it delivered on like the Becky and the Sasha Mania matches.
I think
she hasn't hit those like crazy. This is a great match like levels. You know what I
mean? Maybe it might be a situation where she just like bright lights for WrestleMania. Where she goes up to another level.
I definitely think the Mania matches have like an extra layer of preparation and production, which helps. But I will say, in fairness, the Bayley thing probably partly circumstantial because Bayley had just come back, right? So it's like,
I think Becky, when it comes to like match layouts and stuff like that, this was really what I love about Becky. Like she's probably like, especially when it comes to like the Four Horsemen, like she's probably like the least athletically gifted. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like she's even the way that she like even now, you know what I mean. She's been a vet. Like she's a vet at this point. You know what I mean. She's main evented WrestleMania, and she's like the only woman in the history of fucking American wrestling to legit be the top star in the whole business. She's special, but like even at this point, like sometimes her movement can be a bit like awkward and like ugly looking.
Clunky,
but like it kind of adds to the charm, of this Irish.
Well, I think it's because she's she's aware of that, which allows it to add to the charm, right?
Yes.
Like
she's very out of the horsewomen. I don't know. Sasha's fucking a genius. Sasha and Becky are like,
to me, they're the top two.
Yeah, up here, they're like, do you know what I mean?
In different ways too, I think.
Yes. Yes.
I think in terms of like match layout, I think Sasha is like one of the best wrestlers in recent memory. But Becky has a very good understanding of, and so does Sasha, to be clear. But Becky's strength would be the way she can kind of like insert emotion and drama into stuff. Because like the Bianca matches are awesome, but they're not awesome because of the work necessarily, right? They just have like a certain gravity that I think is, a lot of it is Becky's kind of understanding of that nuance, and
she's
those
awesome,
matches
man.
are tremendous. Yeah,
I really, really love Becky, man. Like I said, for as unathletic and like she's like the least gifted out of the horsewomen. Do you know what I mean? But there's definitely an argument that she's the best. I know most people will go with Sasha. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the consensus and the easy answer.
Yeah. I think it's
but like Becky, like obviously you can build a case for Becky. Like she's the woman that fucking got us to the main event of WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean? Like she's important. She's the only. Listen, bro. If Becky Lynch don't go on the man run, like that main event does not happen. Like that is as close to a fact that you can get with like wrestling opinions. Like there's no way that happens without the man. Like it just don't. Like I know
Also,
Ronda.
I think it also helped that Ronda was a huge star at the time.
Yeah, definitely. It's like it comes to. It's not. I'm not saying like Becky didn't carry it to the main event, but like she was definitely like the main driving factor. Then like you have Ronda. Do you know what I mean? This big star on the outside. It's like you have these two things come together. Then you just throw Charlotte in.
In fairness, I would say that to me, Sasha threatened to blow up years prior as like a major star, and every time she did, they would fucking put a brick wall in front of it. So like I always wonder like if she just wins at Mania, whatever the fuck, 2016, you know, when they put the belt on Charlotte, it's like I feel like so many things change just by kind of the result of her actually being anointed, you know? Yeah.
It's a big what if that probably went over a lot of people's heads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you know you can't look like say what you want about Sasha, like the way she left and stuff like that, and the arguments and difficulties she was having with Vince and creative or whatever. But like you can't look at Sasha in Sasha's WWE career and be like, oh, she was treated like shit. You know what I mean? You can't say that. Like, she was literally like, you know, one of their top stars, always presented as such, and
she was always a supporting character. Always, that's the thing. You're right, but she was never the centerpiece, and that's kind of wild when you think about it. When you look at her work,
they definitely could have done more. I'm just saying, like, it's not like she was. It's not like you can say like she was done filthy. You know what I mean?
I understand.
She main evented Mania, bro. Like you said, again in a more of a supporting role. You know what I mean? It was all about Bianca's night. You know what I mean? But you know, she's still done it. She's still done pretty much she's pretty much done it all. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, that's why she's able to move on to AEW, really. And for us as fans, it's like, yeah, man, this is the best. Because it's like, she's wrestled everyone in WWE. She's done this, she's done that. She's main evented Mania. She's won the world title multiple times. It's like, what do you want her to do? Do you know what I mean? But before we get out of here, super chat from Darren Walker, £5. Any views on Karen Jarrett's Twitter meltdown after the Cast of Rap song?
I haven't.
Yeah, I don't talk on people's personal life. You know what I mean? No, it's just it's Twitter for you, ain't it? Karen Jarrett, big fan of Karen Jarrett over here. You know, she pops there.
Monty saw that chat and the things. So we got to wrap it up.
What?
Willie's.
Well, Willie's. Yeah, bro. You know, it's one of those things where he's either coming back tonight or he's coming back at the Rumble, as far as I understand from mutual friends of ours who you obviously know I'm talking about. And also a little bit of a asking around that I may have taken upon myself. But yeah, Cody, you know what I mean? Code Man. He's imminently. I don't know if it'll be tonight, but it could be tonight. There's a very good chance it could be tonight. So if I've just spoiled it for you and you care about that thing, more bad. But you know, Code Man, we all know I love him. So
happy for you, bro.
You know, it's about time. You know what I mean? At one point, for way too long this past year, I've been dealing with no Punk, no Cody. You know what I mean, bro?
It's crazy.
You know what I mean? Eddie Kingston's getting buried. What am I meant to do? You know what I mean? All my favourite. That FTR are fucking big losers. Briscoe's got unallowed on TV. You know what I mean? I'm fucked.
A lot of different problems that you shoved together there.
But going into 2023, as I said at the top end of this podcast, Samoa Joe, the king of television. And it's something I'm very grateful and happy for. And it almost makes up for all the other things that I just mentioned. I love Samoa Joe. He's one of the greatest wrestlers I've ever seen. He's absolutely one of the special talents and wrestlers of the past 20 years. And that's what I'd like to end on. So if anyone's got any plugs, get them in real quick.
Manny has this weekly segment called Hooper of the Week.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, he looked at you then like, what's he talking about?
Folks, hold on. Hooper of the Week on the way.
All right, Hooper of the Week. Manny, do your intro.
My Hooper of the Week is
fuck just happened?
I completely forgot we were doing this. So I didn't even have anything planned for it. Well, she had so the Hooper of the Week is Julia. She just had one of the best pay-per-view matches of last year, and it was a late contender match of the year. Here you go, Julia. Now oh man, there's a lot going on. I just realized it too. A lot of pinks and reds.
Beautiful.
Fuck.
Great
It is
fucking
beautiful
match.
image. And Julia as well. Like, I know I love Samoa Joe, but love me some Julia as well.
Bro, that match was crazy, man.
We gave it bro, 5 stars on WrestlePurists.com. I think it's only like the third match we've given 5 stars to. I know we're not Dave Meltzer or fucking anything like that, but like, you know, it's a big deal when you get a WrestlePurist 4-star, mate.
Yeah.
Great match.
Oh, I also have a feature on the Late Night Grin.
Yes, you did. Yes, you can finally see the Frankie Kazarian, Josh Alexander match review that was deemed not suitable for WrestlePurist audiences.
It'll be the best dollar you've ever spent.
It's actually free, but yeah, give us $1, everyone.
It was funny because I woke up this morning to our good friend Fredo on the Late Night Grin Discord saying, "Congratulations, man." And I woke up and I said, "For what?" And then I guess I didn't see you posted it, and people were congratulating me on the VC. And I was so blown. I was like, "What's going on?" And that's when I saw it was up there.
Man, this is so Dynamite. We're not doing on Wednesday. Breaking news, but twitch.tv/Late Night Grin Wednesday morning. Manny, I believe you're joining us for this, right? Yep. Wrestle Kingdom Grin Along. That's like 6 a.m. for me, and it'll be a role reversal where the lads stateside will be up very, very late to watch some graps. So come join us over there if you're bored and don't want to hear Kevin Kelly or whatever. Well, probably should stick with Kevin Kelly. He's very good, but
I don't know what time it's gonna start here for me.
That's a nice black. That's a nice black eye Kevin Owens has got on Raw, folks.
Tremendous.
It's like when I try to stay up for the Stardom show, and I thought I started at 3, but then I forgot it starts for 2 for me. So I ended up taking like a 10-second nap, 30-second nap, and got rolling.
I think it's earlier this show because I think it's 6 for me, so it'll probably be like 12 for you. 1, something like that. So we'll see. But there you go, folks. Whenever it's on, we'll be watching it over on Late Night Grin Twitch. All right, Montgomery, I think we're ready to go.
If you haven't voted on our WrestlePurists End of the Year awards, please do. You can find the awards page by you can just simply Google WrestlePurists awards and it will come up at the top. Get your votes in for Wrestler of the Year, Tag Team of the Year, Promotion of the Year, Booker of the Year, all that kind of thing. WrestlePurists.com, WrestlePurists on Twitter.
And before we go, Monty, how long do these people have to vote? So they know.
You have until pretty much, I think it's Friday. So you've got like 3 or 4 days. Get your votes in, and then we'll announce it. I believe we will do the announcement like next Monday or something. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, But get your votes in, people, if you haven't voted already. Again, all the usual tools. WrestlePurists.com, LateNightGrin.com, MannyTheHooper.com. Enjoy Raw if you're watching it. If you're not, I don't know what to tell you. Sweet.
Good night, Trey.